My husband
am a
knows how to do nice. Just
anything.
sometimes a little humor
Get your
can
story
get you
out.
through.
Hey, thank you. What have you gotten me into, Nicole? And so, because there's so many wonderful people here tonight, but my favorite thing about cancer was always getting to be so selfish about it. It's now I've got to share it with everyone else. Now we got to share the sympathy. It's and I don't want to brag, but I had other diseases before cancer. Yeah, I had the bipolar disorder. Anybody else? If you're bipolar and you know it, clap your hands. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little lithium. Listen, I've had a lot. I have had a lot of diseases. There's not a week that goes by that someone doesn't come up to me and say, "Hey, Dana, you want to do a show for a good cause?" I'm always like, "No, not really." But and every time I go to the grocery store, they're also always asking me for money for a good cause. They're like, "You want money for a good cause?" And I'm like, "I'm a gay bipolar Jew with a lazy eye. I think I am the cause." My brother was very excited. This is before kid. You know, when he found out that I had the bipolar disorder, he's like, "Come on, let's go to Vegas and count cards." And I was like, "That's autism, you idiot. It's the wrong disease." Instead, he bought me a mood ring, but it died of exhaustion. So, and there's different kinds. There's bipolar 1, bipolar 2. I have bipolar 2, the sequel, never as good as the original. And it's mostly the depression, and it's sad when depression runs in your family, mostly because it knocks out so many baby names like Hope, Faith, Joy. They're like, "Let's just go with Dana." My Hebrew name is Huh. But so, you know, I was, of course, getting a lot of drugs then and now. But, you know, of course, the drugs, they become very expensive, which never made sense to me. Like, the doctor gave me anti-anxiety drugs, but she wrote it out for name brand. I went to pick them up, and they were $200. And I was like, $200? A bottle of vodka is only $6. Grey Goose has made real advancements in this field. And they don't require proof of insurance. And that's a whole other show. I know we're all dealing with the health insurance stuff, right? I had heard good things about Kaiser, you know, because I guess I saw the commercials. They had those great commercials. They said, "Kaiser, live long and thrive." But I have Blue Cross, and their slogan is, "You've had a good run." If I actually get sick, they're like, "Oh, no. A doctor, that's not on your plan. Did you try calling your mom? How about moaning on the floor like a banshee?" I said, "I did that." They said, "Great, that is a $40 copay." And every year they send me this new booklet called The Explanation of Benefits. It's like an algebra equation. It's like if a train leaves Cleveland at 5 o'clock, traveling 180 miles an hour, and it hits you, you're not covered. And I wish they would stop calling them memorial hospitals. I don't want to go to any more memorial hospitals. I want to go to, like, Robert Wood Johnson's Picking Up and Doing Better hospital. Yeah, he's skiing now. So that's the hospital I'd go to. So when I did get my cancer diagnosis, because of my prior disease experience, I had actually gotten a book contract, and I was writing a book called How to Be Depressed, a guide, and then I'd signed a contract, and then a week later found out I had cancer, and I was like, "Wait, let me finish this disease before I can't write another book about the new disease." So, but I should have known before. I don't hear the I'm not a good listener. Like, and I should have known, because when I was a kid, my dad would always say that. He'd always be like, "Dana, you're really great. You only hear what it is you want to hear." And I was always like, "I am really great, aren't I?" I think so too. So when they found like the mass, I just thought, you know, I guess the doctor was just trying not to panic me, and so just said, you know, "It's probably nothing, but, you know, go get it checked out." And I just heard the nothing part. So I didn't get it checked out for like another 9 months. And then, you know, you get, everyone talks about, like, there's little things that let you know. I still didn't pick it up, like when they tell you to come in, like that's a thing. Otherwise, didn't you notice no one ever wanted to see you before that? But the doctor was like, listen, you have a mass on your spleen. That was the first indication. It was like, you have a mass on your spleen or you have 2 spleens. And I was like, 2 spleens. Who wouldn't want to have 2 spleens, right? And by the way, it turns out like 15% of the population has what they call an accessory spleen. So somebody in here is just walking around with an accessory spleen. You could be eBaying that shit. So, but I come in and they get everything back, and the doctor's like, you're gonna be fine. And I was like, oh shit, you made it sound serious, and now I can't pay for these tests. So this is not gonna work out. But he said, he said, you have something called lazy cancer. It's probably been in you for a long time. And I didn't know if he meant the lazy or the cancer. I was like, oh, yeah, I have been lazy for a long time. But it was definitely stage 4 lazy. Definitely this lazy, they're never going to cure it. But it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And for those of you who don't know, it has the cancer code, but it doesn't replicate very quickly. It's like the stoner of cancers. It's like, it's like just sitting there in my stomach going like, yeah, fuck it, we'll do it tomorrow, So that was kind of, so I went for radiation. I went for a month of radiation, and that was a safe treatment. I knew it was a safe treatment because they told me that right before they ran out of the room. They just go, okay, Dana, and then they just come over a loudspeaker and they go, okay, Dana, whatever you do, don't move. I was like, oh, okay, where are you guys? Don't worry, we're fine. We're in another building. So, and then the doctor called me. I go back for like these checks. The doctor was like, do you have any questions? And I was like, yes. When nurses come home, do they change into something more comfortable? They like, I think I'm in the mood for a prom gown now. So, I don't know. And then I just found that machine so weird that I had to be on because I wasn't allowed to move at all. And at one point I was like, I'm gonna sneeze. And so I had to alert them. I was like, I'm gonna sneeze. But I was like, how come that advanced technology can detect, find the cancer, treat it, but it didn't know that I had a tickle in my nose and I had to sneeze. That bothered me a lot. He couldn't answer. Some questions will never be answered. That's what I learned. Some questions will never. But the thing that I thought was so interesting was how nice people were. Like people were they were offering to do things for me, offering to buy things for me, and I was like, oh man, I should have said I had cancer before I had cancer. Maybe junior high school would have been a very different experience for me. I'll be honest with you. I still sometimes use it as an excuse. People be like, oh, you want to come see my baby? And I'm like, oh, I can't. I have morning cancer. Yeah, I know. I will say, it definitely did not make me a better person. There's a TED Talk you're not going to hear, which is why I don't have any inspirational tales to tell. And in fact, people always give me like way too much credit. They're like, you battled cancer. And I'm like, yeah, but really just because no one else volunteered for it. And it was really just my own. I didn't help out with anybody else's. So, and then I think the other experience you have is you get a lot of unsolicited advice from people. Like people always, they'll give me their, like someone, what they say, they said, you should do something called the Texas treatment. I don't know what it is. I haven't checked out. They're like, you should do the Texas treatment. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with the first world solution since I'm in a first world country. Oh, there's the alkaline. They recommended alkaline. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go with the first world solution. And then someone else recommended the Texas treatment. You go to Texas, they have some sort of treatment there. And I was like, no, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't want to live that badly. And and they said, no, but the Texas treatment really works. And I'm like, yeah, but I hear you come back racist. So I think I'm not going to do that one. But and then we had COVID shortly after. So I had to stay inside for all of COVID, because I'm considered immunosuppressed and lazy, it turns out. And my neighbor, she was very nice. She knew, what I'd been through. And so she left me an orchid. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to keep two things alive. Because for those who don't know, an orchid is like the most fragile flower that there is. Like, she might as well have brought me a 17-year-old cat. It's the only flower with Epstein-Barr. So I called her and she said, no, it's really easy. She said, you just put an ice cube in it once a week, because I guess she likes her orchids neat. And, but it was COVID and I don't cook. So the orchid, it didn't make it. I'll be honest, it didn't make it. And I was embarrassed. I didn't want her to know. So I snuck down in the middle of the night, went out to the street, threw it in front of a truck, and I made it look like an accident. Yeah. Thank you guys so much.